Hey guys, this is Damon Greene here interviewing YouTube Graphics Toolkit creator Bertram. And let's see, we already go. Hey guys, I'm here interviewing Bertram Heath Sr. I actually received an email from Tony Hayes. I'm on Tony Hayes, who, by the way, provides some great YouTube marketing and SEO information. He sent out an email, and I remember the name, but I wasn't really familiar, so I checked it out. It came right on time because I was actually looking to hire someone to do some YouTube graphics for me. I used to do graphic design. I'm far gone from the game, and I'm looking for some help for my son's YouTube channel we're building out around tech blogging. So it came right on time. So I said, let me see if I can reach out to this guy. And then it dawned, I'm hanging out with experts, so let me see if I can get him on. So this is actually our first time speaking. We were in the green room for about 15 minutes and had a really great conversation. It was like, whoa, wait a minute, let's start recording this. So here we are. And Bertram, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Damon. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yes, okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive right in and get started. So for those that don't know who Bertram is, who are you? How long you been in the game? What made you get in the game? And what's your areas? What are your areas of expertise?
Well, like most people, I have a much longer story than we have time for. but
Yeah.
but honestly, I mean, I I grew up, a hands-on guy, blue-collar jobs. You know what I mean? My dad was a logger, come from a middle-class family. I worked in brickyards as a kid and put myself through school for plumbing because I was originally a stonemason. I hurt my back really bad when I was in my early 20s. I started doing stonework when I was 16. I had my own business when I was 18. And then by the time I was 21, I destroyed my back. So I had to learn something else. I wasn't willing to go, be disabled for the rest of my life at that age. I just wasn't. And at one point, doctors were telling me they didn't even know if I was going to walk again. I was paralyzed from the waist down for 8 months, stuck in bed, had plenty of time to think about what I wanted to do with my life, and it didn't look good. But I wasn't going to take it laying down. So when I was finally able to get up and move around, I went to Wentworth Institute for Technology in Boston. I tried to get into MIT, but I couldn't really afford it. I could have done it, just it was too much money. So I went to Wentworth, great school, learned plumbing and HVAC, and then I went off and worked for a couple big plumbing companies, and eventually started my own plumbing business. So I was a plumber for 23 years. And for the last 15 years of that, I had my own business, and I did pretty good. Had pretty successful businesses. Also had a used car dealership. Did lots of different things, like most people. But in 2007, I was going through a period where the economy was just starting to take a dip. Everybody remembers that. And I was also going through a divorce and a bunch of other things. Ended up losing my business, losing my home, losing my family. The old country song, right?
Yeah.
Lost it all. So play that record backwards, you get it all back. So, I started out online. Really, I had no computer skills and almost no knowledge of the internet at all. In my plumbing business, I used the computer very little. Did some emails, placed a couple big orders with big companies, for jobs, and that was it. So when I started, I really had no skills at all. And I know I'm far from the only one, but it was a long learning process. It probably took me 20 months before I made my first dollar online. And when I first got started, so we're going back to late 2008, early 2009, I started making videos and had my first product in 2009. End of 2009, and then I realized that learning stuff and then doing it and then simplifying it and teaching that stuff, was what I really love to do. So I've created over a dozen products now.
Awesome. Okay. Um, so what made you choose video?
Oh
Did you
yeah, well,
just do
yeah,
video? That's your primary
yeah,
avenue, or
yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, the first thing you learn when you're starting to learn how to make money online, or at least build a business online, there's plenty of ways to make money without building a business. We all know that, right? Um,
yes.
right? Exactly. I mean, the funny thing is, looking back now, the way I did it was the hardest way. I think the longest, slowest way I think I could have done it.
School of
Because
Hard Knocks.
yeah, from the begin, from the beginning, you know, I didn't want, for whatever reason, whoever I was listening to in the beginning, um, affiliate marketing didn't sound like the thing I wanted to do, because it's like, I'm going to be the door-to-door salesman. I'm going to be going around knocking on everybody's door. Hey, you want to buy my stuff? Hey, you want to buy my stuff? You know what I mean? I didn't want to be that guy. Of course, now I know that affiliate marketing, kind of has to be should be a part of any business that you're running online, because everybody's got an affiliate program. And if you use a tool and you love it, why not promote it? And if you're going to promote it, why not make a few bucks on it? Because it doesn't cost the buyer any more money. All I'm doing is using a referral link, basically. So, but at the time it sounded like I was going to be a spammer. I didn't want to be that guy. So
Yeah.
I wanted to create products. What I didn't realize is that even if I create products, they have to get sold. Otherwise, I don't have a business, right? So, I started out actually learning, how to build websites and things like that, hand coding websites, and, using WYSIWYG editors and all that stuff, and quickly found out that that was not the way to do it, because it was taking me longer to build a web page than it would take me to create an entire product. So that's when you and I were just talking about WordPress. That's when I discovered WordPress, and I've never looked back. I build everything on WordPress now, and a lot of the WordPress sites you can't even tell are WordPress anymore. So, I love WordPress. There's some
WordPress is
amazing
awesome.
themes. Yeah. But really, when I was starting to look into, choosing a niche, the two things that kept coming up for me were social media and video, right? I'm a redneck. I'm not the most social guy you're ever going to meet. So I started looking at social media thinking, yeah, this is kind of interesting, but probably not my thing. But then I realized that video was also on social media sites. It was just starting to show up then, right? So I thought, well, okay, maybe video is the thing to do. And now I'm learning how to create a product, because that's what I knew I wanted to do. What am I going to create a video product around? And then I realized, well, wait a minute, I just spent the last 18, 20 months buying video products, learning little bits and pieces here and there, and it was a long road. It was a struggle to find those missing pieces and learn those things and put those together and figure out how they work together. So then I thought, well, it just makes sense for me to teach what I'm learning now, because obviously I wasn't going to teach plumbing, right? I mean, if I got into the plumbing niche online, try to teach plumbing, now I'm competing with HGTV and Home Depot and Lowe's and, all these big, channels, right? Big
Yeah.
brands. I couldn't compete with those. So, I decided that it made sense to help other people who were stuck in the, 18, 20-month learning cycle that I was stuck in. If I could teach, better and all in one place what I had just learned, then that would probably be something that would be popular. And what I discovered was that I have, a pretty good ability to take some complicated stuff, weed it out, get out the garbage that you don't need, take out the fluff, right? Do it, make it work, and then simplify it and teach it. So that's what I try to do. I try to teach, simplify everything I learn, find out what works and what doesn't, what works better, what's easier, what's faster, what tools are less expensive but do the same job, and teach that stuff. And I really love it. I love video. The funny thing
Yeah.
is I couldn't stand my own face on video, but I love doing it.
No, I hear you. And you made a good point about what folks will complain about when they buy products are, I know this piece, but every product that I purchase, there's always one little nugget that you pull out, and that's usually worth it. So if you take 5 different products and teach 5 different people 5 different things, but it's the same overall overarching theme, you can start to put the pieces together. You can find the gaps, and then you pull those, basically you fill those gaps for those folks that don't quite get it. So
Right.
buying products isn't always a bad thing, a bunch of different products, because you'll always get a different take on it. But you got to make it your own. You have to actually, well, first off, you actually have to use it. You actually have to do it.
That's the key. Yeah.
And then you can kind of figure out, okay, well, this isn't working. Like the discussion we had, I had I've talked to several different folks with the video marketing, and it's definitely, I still think it's becoming YouTube marketing, YouTube video marketing is becoming much more synonymous with regular SEO.
Yeah.
All the spamming, the GSA spamming and whatever else, SE nuke, it's not working as well. Sending a crap ton of links isn't working as well. So, methodically figuring, okay, well, what about authority links? Okay, are authority links working? And, those, the same thing, the same mindset as SEO seems to be working pretty well.
Yeah.
But I bought several products and talked to several experts. And matter of fact, one of the things, and you're the first person I'm going to bring this up to, what I'm thinking about doing is having like a forum where we have like 5 or 6 of us on a hangout, and we just talk about what's working.
Brainstorm, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really seen that. Yeah, do a brainstorm. I haven't really seen anybody do that from a hangout perspective. That it's public, but I think that would be it'd be very valuable.
I think that would make a good podcast too, with videos. Take the video, extract the audio, use it as a podcast. I think that's a brilliant idea because, like you said, we know there's groups, there's masterminds, there's little private secret, Facebook groups and Skype groups, and all the experts are hiding everywhere, right? Just talking to each other. But if you get a few on a hangout and just do a brain dump, everybody just dumps all their ideas or all their experience on one topic at a time. People are going to get tremendous value from that.
Yeah, and masterminds, I have to speak on that. They are phenomenal. We have a mastermind here in Atlanta. When we were speaking offline, the folks in that room are ridiculous. Like, we have the regulars that come. We've got the Tommy Powers, we've got Devon Brown, Greg Caesar shows his face on occasion, Michelle Spiva, and then there's some other folks you wouldn't even know. But the folks in that room, we have a core group of about 5 to 10 folks that always come, and the ironic part is, like, we could charge probably a nice chunk of change for every meeting, but it's free. The new people that come are so intimidated they don't come back. They might come twice. We've never had anybody new show up that stayed because they're just like, But masterminding is awesome. What's that?
Too much information. Information overload.
Information overload.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people get intimidated because we had what we do is I'll go in and say, you know what, I'm having a problem, I'm having a challenge here. And the first thing that I do, actually, everybody else does, and then everybody around the table just goes in on it. So when you come back and listen to that, there's so much you can pull out of that that's just like, wow.
Right.
But masterminds are great. So I think something like that would be, even if I'll have to figure out how to do that, even if it's like a monthly thing where we just sit down for an hour and each of us have 10 minutes and go.
Yeah.
But I think that would be great because I was actually thinking about what you said, extracting the audio and turning these hangouts into a podcast also.
Right.
I just haven't. One thing I learned was just do it instead of thinking it through all the time. But I mean, I'm very much a planner. But I don't plan to make a plan anymore. I'll make a plan and I'll just start it and then catch up as you go.
And then refine it as you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
Because for years meaning like 33, 34, all I did was, I planned and it had to be perfect. And I know there's a lot of folks, even folks listening to this or watching this, that it's got to be perfect. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to, because it's not perfect if you're not doing it.
Right. Well, not only that, the perfect plan is still just a plan until you turn it into something, right? And it's not going to help you until it's becomes something, Yeah. Like I remember hearing Brad Goss, I think probably 3, 4 years ago. I shouldn't say hearing. I think he actually wrote it in a Facebook group. But somebody said something about an idea. You know, hey, I have this great idea, blah blah blah. Anybody know somebody who might be interested in buying it? And Brad Goss said, an idea is not worth anything. Everybody has ideas. You know, I mean, everybody has ideas, right?
Oh, yeah.
Some people have ideas for physical products. Some people have ideas for a way to solve a problem. Some people have ideas for a tool. When I was a plumber for 23 years, I had ideas for tools that I never did anything with. And guess what? Eventually, they were made, they were manufactured, they were sold, and I'd see them and I'd go, damn, I had that idea. You know what I mean? But I never brought it to market. That's my fault. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't say, oh, they stole my idea. Even if I told 100 people about my idea and one of them actually went out and created this thing, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could say they stole my idea. I could be that way. I could be that guy that says, oh, I had that idea first, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't anything. All it was a passing thought. I shared it with somebody, and they did something with it. Good for them, bad for me, right? So that's basically what Brad Goss was saying to this guy. Hey, look, it's not worth anything. It's an idea. Everybody has ideas. What's worth something is taking that idea, creating a plan, and then putting that plan into action. When you have something, I'll buy it.
Yeah, and that leads into something I wanted to mention, which, you know, when you do plan, and I am very much guilty of this and have been, and even still am to this day. You know, you think it. It's great. It's in your head.
Yep.
It's not until you move, because when you move and you start in the direction of whatever it is you're going at, it's going to shift. Like, it may start here and go over here. Like, I was initially, we had a discussion offline. I'm not going to mention it as much here because I do it it's kind of getting old now, I'm sure, for folks watching. But I started off thinking, you know, real estate was the area that I was going to go with the, you know, videos, and I ended up, matter of fact, Devon Brown, we had a mastermind session. I sat in his office and was like, man, this is what I got. You know, I've got this niche keyword ATM product that I have, which was the product I launched last year. You know, I sold a couple hundred. It was great. Nowhere near like the 12,000. It was 1,400 we sold, you know, when Jerome and I worked. But, you know, I haven't done a product since then. So, you know, getting back in the game. But just that product alone, it was supposed to go, well, I thought it was supposed to go one way, but it opened up so much more. Like I stated, I went to the JV Zoo event, met some great people, which allowed me to be able to do these hangouts because I met these people in person. You know, just the relationships that opened up. You know, I didn't have a, you know, JV Zoo product of the day or Warrior Form product of the day with that product, but it opened up some great relationships. I met some great people, and I'm able to, you know, I'm able to do that. But with Devon, he said to me, he said, one thing I do very well is do stuff very well, and then I stop. And I was like, ooh, I do that too. So he said, stick with what works, which is where the lawn care thing stuck in. Just a brief overview of that for you. Kid knocked on my door, 21-year-old kid knocked on my door, was like, in my subdivision, for a couple years back, and said, you know, can I cut your grass? And I got on the phone with him. He called me back, and we just got. He started mentioning I Love Marketing podcast, and you know, some Joe Polish and Dean Jackson, a couple other people. I was like, this kid knows a little marketing. So I said, here's what we'll do. I'll help you get more customers, and you cut my lawn for free. He's like, oh, sure. Anyway, after our relationship, and he actually sold his business since, but I think I've accounted probably for about 6% of his customers. Created one video in one small town, plus did some direct mail and some referral strategies. But the video itself made him over, was it $39,000?
Nice.
Over the course of 18 months.
Wow, that's nice.
And one direct mail piece we did, because we did direct mail, like a 2-page sales letter in an envelope, put on the mailbox. Actually, it was a, what do you call it? The newspaper slot underneath the mailbox in 300 homes. He did that, $1,200 a month. I mean, a week later, $1,200 a month worth of clients.
Yep.
So he did pretty well. And then he sold his business for 5 figure. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but you know, that's just helping him out. And he's like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. It worked. He was happy. You know, he's since sold his business and went and started working for somebody else and built something else out. But because of that success, I was like, yeah, I should probably stick in this industry because I at least know a little bit. And it's not an industry that people go into. So, you know, but I didn't think I was going to start there. I mean, that's not where my plan was to be like this big, you know, have a big product launches and whatever the case may be. But I've since shifted. But the only reason that happened was because I started. I took my direction was this way. It may have went over here, but you know, it's the snowball effect. You start and you're going to end up somewhere. You might not know where you're going to end up, but if you just sit around and wonder where you're going to end up, you're going to end up right where you are now wondering.
Right. You end up years later sitting in the same spot.
Yeah.
Right.
I should have done exactly.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I tell my kids all the time, you know, I like the I have an idea guy, right? You know, I tell my kids all the time, you know, they say, well, you know, I was gonna do that, and I always tell my kids, was gonna, never did anything.
That's true.
You know, it might seem, you know, silly and simple, but it's easy that way. My kids understand exactly what I mean, you know?
Yeah.
You can have all kinds of ideas, you can have the best intentions, but if you don't actually get up and do something, nothing gets done. So, that, you know.
That's just like want to do. You know, was gonna and want to do. Well, you know, I want to do this. Okay, what's stopping you? Right. You got my support. You know, if it's not illegal, you got my support. What?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right.
So segue from here. Give us a failure. You know, we always talk about, you know, the successes because a lot of folks that look at celebrities or marketers or folks that are doing well, they're like, oh, well, they have this. You know, what's a failure that you don't mind discussing that, you know, or you may have thought it was a failure and ended up turning into being something else.
Right. Well, you know, I think this is the part that surprises most people who are just trying to get started in anything. When they look at and listen to and really, you know, try to find out more about the experts in that area that they're trying to get started in, any honest expert is going to tell you, and there's always the exception to the rule, but I think for the most part, most experts are willing to say, you know what, I had a lot of failures. I didn't just wake up one day, decide to do this and become an expert or a success story, right? So for me, you know, like I said, the first 18 to 20 months, I didn't make a penny. I mean, I was working for somebody else after having my own business for 15 years, my own plumbing business. I've had my own businesses since I was 18, so 30 years, you know. And my first product was a complete flop. I mean, the few people that bought it loved it. But what I didn't realize is all this time and energy I was putting into learning how to do video, learning how to create products, learning how to build a funnel, learning how to build a sales page, learning copywriting and NLP and all these other things so that I could write a video script that would convert. You know, just so much that goes into it, you know. And especially if you're starting out with, like I had, literally no money to invest. I mean, I was scraping to come up with money for the software I needed, or that I was told I needed. Turns out, you know, I didn't really need most of it. The options, which I didn't know about then, but now I do. A lot of the free options back then were garbage. You know, but some of them I could have used, like I could have used OpenOffice to instead of PowerPoint, right? PowerPoint's not very expensive anymore, but back then it was. And, you know, Camtasia, things like that. Well, what I didn't realize is that when I finally learned all those pieces and I put all those things together and I created this product that I thought was a great product because I've purchased enough products, I have something to compare it to. I didn't think it was the best product I've ever seen, but I thought for where I was at, it was a great product, you know. And the quality has always been on top of my list when it comes to products. Yeah. But I had no idea how to send traffic to anything. None, not a clue. Didn't know how to recruit affiliates. Didn't even know what where to find them or how to go about getting people to promote my product. Didn't know how to run paid ads. I thought, well, all this video SEO stuff I'm hearing about, right? I just put my videos up on YouTube and I'm just going to make sales overnight. Yeah, it never happened. So anyway,
let me ask you this much: since you're talking about the it's affiliate marketing, but it's also product marketing. How did you get your affiliates? What are some quick actionable steps somebody that wants to create a product can take that work for you to get affiliates?
Well, really, networking is the only way to do it. You have to make friends in the niche you're in. You have to get to know people and let people know who you are, and you have to do it. I mean, everybody has this problem, and I clearly remember when I first got started, I had that one product. It converted really well when I finally figured out how to get traffic to it, but I didn't have a lot of money to invest in traffic, so I basically just was giving the product away because I didn't know how to split test. I didn't know anything about conversions. I didn't know how to track my stats or anything. So it was a long, hard learning process, and I learned really fast that nothing really does happen easily or overnight. It takes time. But the fastest way to do it really is Facebook. Wherever your people in your niche are hanging out, whether it's forums. Personally, I like Facebook. I wasn't a big fan of it at first,
Yeah.
but it really is the right place because everybody's there. Everybody who's anybody is there now.
That's true.
And groups now. I mean, when I started, I couldn't find groups on Facebook, for video marketing, internet marketing. Now there's just too many of them. I can't be everywhere, but I'm constantly getting invited to groups, but I think the funny thing for me is I talk to people like you and other video guys and people who are on my list and affiliates who promote my products, and they talk to me like I'm a guru or something, and I'm like, dude, I'm just a redneck. You know what I mean? I'm nothing special.
Funny.
Yeah,
it's funny you say that because people get intimidated by, like, I was talking to a guy that I want to get on here. He's he's the underground, does what he does, but I'm not dropping names, but I'm just saying, I've talked to this person. They're like, wow, you know them? You know them? Like, yeah. you got them on speed dial? They're just people. Like, and my kids do that too. My oldest son he's really good at basketball. And I was sitting with Tommy. We were at California Pizza Kitchen in Atlantic Station. It's a area around here where folks go. You can eat, and there's condos over there. There's a movie theater. It's kind of like a social place. So I called him. I called my son at the time because they happened to be down here with me during the summer. I was like, hey, Kai, guess who I'm sitting behind? He's like, I don't know who. I said, Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was playing for the Atlanta Hawks at the time, but he's just like celebrity. Like, you run into celebrities all the time down here. And, folks are like, oh, my God. And he was just flipping out on the phone. And I was like, okay, stop. If I cut him, he bleeds. He's just a person, just like me. Like, don't get intimidated by it. You're going to be somewhat intimidated, but we're just people. Like, I'm just a dude. Yeah. Another thing that was funny was Brian Anderson had because I used to live up the street. When I lived on the south side, I used to live up the street from him. And he and we connected a couple times. He was actually my top affiliate, so I took him out for lunch to this. I forgot where he was originally from, but I don't think he's originally from here. So I took him to this hoagie spot because they don't have hoagies like that. Living in the South, it's hard to get good pizza and good hoagies. Where there's this guy from upstate New York that moved down here and has a spot called Spezzano's. So I took him there, bought him a hoagie. I mean, it's just a regular spot. Dropped $500 cash in his pocket, and we just got to talking. But he's just a regular dude. But he had him and Mario Brown had a offline renegade event in Peachtree City, which is around the corner. So I've been running around the time trying to get stuff done. And typically, like I mentioned, when you go to events, folks hang out at the bar. I got up there like 12 on 1. I was like, all right, folks going to be at the bar. I walked in, it's crickets. Wait a minute. Everybody, this is the first time I've ever heard this, everybody that flew in from across the world, really, they shut it down at 12 o'clock. They're like, yeah, we got to be up and early. And they were actually being responsible adults. I was like, whoa,
There's
really?
a first time for everything, right?
Yeah. But I walked in, and this one dude was that, you're Damon Greene. I am. Hi. I don't know who this kid is. He's like, you're the offline takeover dude. You did this product with Jerome. I said, yeah, that's me. They're like, oh, that's you? Oh, I'm on your list. Nice to meet you. I have no idea who these guys are. They're like, oh, you're the Starbucks guy. Because my very first video that I actually saw my face, because again, I was very apprehensive. I was at Starbucks. And I was outside of Starbucks, and I was like, here I'm at the office, and I had Starbucks in the background, doing a selfie video. And that's the video he saw. And I forgot it was a lesson behind it. But it happened to be David Macheri. I'm not sure if you know who he is. He's a local guy. He had a couple products out before, but he has a very big agency over in California that he's been building out. And I didn't know who he was until the next day when he was actually on stage. I was like, oh, okay. So it was just interesting because I walked in the door like, folks know me.
Right.
They're like, oh, I'm such and such from the Skype group. Oh, no. I mean, it's a good feeling, but like I'm just a dude, just like everybody else, and everybody else that you meet. Now, you do have your social, what do you call them, sociopaths, and the folks that are just like, do you know who I am? I was like, do I care?
Yeah, right. Right.
For the most part, I mean, it's cool. It's not like, and again, me being back in corporate America, it's not like being in corporate America where you can't talk to the CEO. And they walk in the door, everybody puts their heads down like, oh, my God. I'm like, I'm not that dude. Like,
right.
I give them that. Like, hey, let's get the fist bump. What's going on, CEO? That's how I'm used to dealing with people.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I personally think it should be. Like that whole.
I agree.
They're better than everybody else. I'm like, really? If I let you know who I've sat at the table with, you guys would be like, oh. But
yeah, well, some people get starstruck. I don't know what that's all about, but I mean, I think there's been times where I've met celebrities, and singers, and people with popularity in what they do, where they probably thought I was rude or stuck up or something because I just talked to them like you and I are talking, and it's not that I don't appreciate what you do. You're not a god. You're just you're just like me. You're just another person. And personally, I believe that no matter what you have, money, cars, houses, I don't care.
Oh yeah.
You can lose all that in a heartbeat. I've always said, money doesn't make me. I make money. I've been well off, and I've been, in the bottom of the barrel, and I'm the same person either way. Yeah, life is a little bit more difficult without money. It's a lot easier with money, but it's still just money. It doesn't. If money defines you, if money makes you happy, you got issues. If not having money makes you miserable, you got issues. Because money is just a thing. It's just money is just a way to get things. It's not going to help you be a better person or a worse person. It shouldn't. If it does, then like I said, you might have bigger issues than I do. But unfortunately, I think people dwell too much on money. And personally, the less I stress about money, the more I make. That's just the way it works. I don't know why.
Absolutely, and that's I've been in that boat where I stress about money for other things because when you got a family.
Oh yeah, you don't definitely have to worry about it. Think about it. Work on it. Right.
Yeah.
But you can't dwell on it. You just can't say until I have X amount of money, I can't do this with my family, or I can't do that with my family. You may not be able to travel. You may not be able to go to take your kids to Disney World or whatever other things you want to do. You may not be able to buy them certain things, but you can still show them that you love them. You can still do what's important. You can still take good care of them. You can still, what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's not what this call is supposed to be about.
I completely understand, but
man. When I started out, I was stressed out about money, and guess what? I didn't make any. When I stopped worrying about money and started concentrating more on, a plan, right? A good, solid plan, and then following that plan, then things started to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so do you do any local marketing?
I do actually. I first started out with the video skills that I was learning, helping out a friend who was a contractor, and not here in upstate New York where nobody knows I exist because it's a really rural area. It's funny because it doesn't matter if you say upstate or rural, right? If you say New York, people automatically think the big city, right?
Hmm.
The whole state of New York is much different than that one
That's
small
like you
part.
say Jersey. People think, oh, you're from Newark? No, from South Jersey.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's
how do
very.
you? Okay, when you talked about affiliate, how you get affiliates, how do you get clients? That's the biggest question I get, and there's so many different ways. But what works for you for getting local clients?
Yeah, well, recently I did something that I never would have thought of, years ago. And in fact, when I first started, it didn't even exist yet that I know of. But I built an app for my local area, and it's a free
You
app.
built it?
So yeah, well, yeah,
You had to
anybody
build
can
it.
build an app. Trust me, it's just like building a website. It's a piece of cake.
Really?
Um, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, there's software. I didn't code it. What I did was buy a software platform that builds the app with the functionality that you want.
Okay.
Right. And there's lots of those out there.
Do you have any recommendations? I'm asking because I have a guy that looking to build one, a buddy of mine.
The one I used is called Business Apps.
I actually have my buddy Sam Owusu was supposed to. He's going to get on. He had a family emergency this week, but he's going to get on, and he's been doing apps, and that's what one of my future hangouts is going to be is hanging out with him where he kind of explains the whole process. But okay,
Yep.
so you use an app to get.
Yeah, believe it or not, my offline business, which I really didn't do whole lot with it for the last like 4 years, right? In the beginning, I did. I did video marketing for a contractor friend of mine, and then it went so well that I was starting to go out and try to get other clients, and it wasn't easy. And I bought, like a lot of people, I purchased product after product that tell you how to get clients this way, that way, the other way, email, direct mail, this. The only thing that works is the one thing that I hate the most, and I mean the only thing that worked for me is just talking to people. You know what I mean?
Networking.
That's just the best, the easiest way to do it. But what I found out is that it makes a lot more sense to go in and talk to a business owner that you want to work with, and it doesn't have to be anybody that you done business with or purchased. Because how many cars are you going to buy? How many houses are you going to buy? You want to do realtors and auto dealers and some of the bigger businesses. Most of them are already working with somebody. So
Yeah.
personally, I go after the businesses who I know either have an outdated website or they have a Facebook page that's not customized and it's not very active, but they're trying to do something. They just don't know what to do. Those are the ones that I go after because now I know that they already know it's important. Right? They may not have the money. That's what you got to determine, right? But hey, I've picked up small business owners who I really didn't think could afford what I wanted to do for them, and I'd start them out on a little $99 a month, and I'll do XYZ for you, right? 2 videos a month for $99 a month or something. Generally, I charge $4.99 for a 35 to 45-second video, if that's all they want, right? But if they have a monthly plan with me, I'll do the same video for $1.99, right? But if I really want to work with a business who I know can afford it and I want to show them what I can do for them, I'll say, look, I normally charge $4.99 for a video, right? And I'm willing to do 2 videos a month for you. Whatever keywords we sit down and decide on together would be best for you. I'll do 2 videos a month for you, get you video thumbnails on the first page of Google, and it's going to cost you $99 a month. They never say no to that, unless they're,
Good strategy.
unless they're already working with somebody else or they just do not want to be on the internet. And I've had those. It's weird, but I've had a few of those.
Any
But
niches that
anyway,
you prefer versus not?
any businesses?
Yeah, any type of businesses. I know some folks. I was speaking one of the hangouts I had. Was it John Bendiver? It's funny because I interviewed Joe Justin. He was my first hangout with him, And he was like, all he was doing at the time was attorneys, whereas John Bendiver, who actually learned from, he took Joe Justin's course. He was like, I steer clear of attorneys. I
So do
don't.
I. That's funny. As soon as you said that, I was going to say I will not work with an attorney. Because think about this. How much do you think it's going to cost you to get paid if they decide they don't want to pay you? You can't fight an attorney. I mean, you can, but it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And attorneys, in my opinion, I've known some great attorneys, but if they don't know you especially, they're better than you. It doesn't matter what you do. They're better than you. They're smarter than you. You know, I mean, don't, you know, I personally will not, I don't want to deal with that type of attitude. You know, if you automatically think you're better than me, do it yourself, right? Or hire somebody else who you think is better than you, because if I'm not, you know, I'm not working for you. Just not going to happen. So, yeah, I stay away from attorneys pretty much. That's, you know, any attorney. Doesn't matter what they do. That's just me, you know.
Have you ever gone after results? Like, because that's actually the model that I'm working on now, which been a little frustrating because there's a lot of investment up front. But going after results first, where you actually rank a video, you create the videos and rank it first, and then go and say, okay, I have this already, so there's no prove that I can do this. We can sit down. I can show you it's done. Do you want it or not? Have you ever taken that approach?
Yeah, I did. In fact, I did that back in Massachusetts. We were just talking about. That's where I'm originally from. I did that for a plumber, friend of mine back there, and he decided after, I don't know, 8 or 10 months that he didn't want to use it anymore. But I was smart. I didn't do it in his business name. I did it in a generic name, so it was the name of the city, right? It was you know, it was bestbrocktonplumber.com. I bought the domain, I did the videos, I put up a landing page. So basically, it was a lead generation page with a free guide, right? So you have a video that says, hey, you know, before you hire a plumber, there's things you should know, right? And then you get a, you know, 10 things, or I think it was 7 things you need to know before you hire a plumber, and they get that free guide. And then if they needed a plumber, they could, you know, click a button. It would take them to another page where they could put their information with their problem in, like a contact us page.
Yes.
It was just a contact form, and they would submit that, and then I would forward that information to him. Well, he got to the point where he was getting ready to retire. He didn't want to do it anymore. So the nice thing was I already had steady leads coming in from this. I had lots of videos that were linked to that page, plus the video that was on the page, and I was able to easily flip that over to another plumber. So I was getting $4.99 a month just to let that thing run.
Yes, that's exactly what that's the approach that I'm taking as well.
Well,
I haven't done any SEO. It's all video right now, and once I get I pretty much have the blueprint down again. You know, again, things change. Then I'll start jumping over to video. I mean, SEO, like landing pages, etc.
Yeah, I never did SEO. I never even tried to learn SEO, Damon. All I ever did was, and I know this is going to sound simple, but sometimes simple is. Yeah, all I've ever done, ever, for anything, my local clients and myself, right, is I write the release so that it's keyword rich but not, you know, loaded. It's got to sound right to people. So everything I create, my videos, my scripts, I write them with keywords in the back of my mind, but with the person who's watching the video in the front.
Yep.
They are the main focus, right? Same thing with my descriptions. I don't slam my descriptions with keywords. I sprinkle a few in there, right? You got to have that happy medium. So it's got to sound good. It's got to look good. It's got to read well to the actual person. And you know, for that reason, I've never really had I've never really been hurt by any of Google's changes, because in my opinion, I've always been giving them what they always wanted, even though they didn't always know it. You know, what they always wanted and what they will always want is stuff that is created for a person. You know, if you're trying to game the system or you're trying to analyze the algorithm and you're trying to play that, you know, you create some kind of a system or a blueprint that plays up to their algorithms today, tomorrow it's not going to work. So for me, it's always been about the person, and it's always my videos have always ranked well. My sales videos convert well. My clients' videos rank well. I've had with the app thing I was just telling you about. Now that app is free for people to download and use, right? So I've got residents who download and use it, but the way I make money with it, and the way I get a lot of my clients is by not looking for people to pay for advertising on the app, but for people, local businesses, to sponsor the app. I think that's the important part. They don't pay for advertising. They sponsor the app for $40.
Simple word change.
Right. So yeah, simple words. So what they get in return is, they get a spot on they get 2 spots on the app, and then I have a local offline directory. They get a full page ad that they can have images, text, coupons, videos, whatever they want. I put that up. I charge $297 to set it all up. It takes me about an hour on average, so that's pretty good. And then they pay $49 a month to keep it going. And there's lots of things you can do with apps, like they have a customer, it's a customer appreciation kind of thing. Then they've got these coupons you can do. They've got like digital punch cards people can have right on their phone. So they go in, they buy something, or they get a haircut. Let's say every 10 haircuts they get a haircut for free. So they got the little punch card. So the person at the store will put their code in and unlock that on the customer's phone. So it just, stores that. So once they get 10 of something, then it says, hey, you got a free whatever haircut. So there's lots of different things you can do to monetize that. But I have a few clients who came from $49 a month and upgraded to $4.99 a month. I've got a guy that pays me $1,000 a week to be his part-time personal business consultant, and he doesn't even call me once a week. I do some maintenance and stuff like that for all his, for his website and for his social media pages. I'll make suggestions. Why don't you try putting this up? I'll make him a coupon and say, hey, throw that up there, next Thursday and run this sale for 24 or 48 hours. I help them get likes on their Facebook page, things like that. But it doesn't take a lot of my time, especially not for what he's paying me. But he's thrilled just knowing that if he has a question, a problem, a sale, whatever the case might be, he can call me and get an answer right away. I answer. If I don't answer, it's because I'm busy, and I will call him right back. So I'm like that with all my clients, but especially, people want to pay me $1,000 a week to be a part-time go-to consultant. That's fine. But another thing I'm working on with another client is how to systemize his business. So we're going to work on putting things in place where next year he can work less and make more money. But
yeah, I appreciate the consultant piece. That's actually, I fired all my clients, and I like that model because it's just like we're sitting here. Okay, you want to do this? Here's where you want to go. Okay, here's some steps you need to take, because they don't have a clue.
Right.
We already know 90% more than they do, so they look towards us to say, we're the experts.
Yep. I'll tell you, there's another. Well, let me tell you real quick about this one client I have, because he was very hesitant to do any video because last year he paid I think it was $3,200 or $3,400 for a really low quality video. It was supposed to be professional video, but it's a tiny little video they put on his website. Now, when I say tiny, I don't even know what size it is. It's like the size of a thumbnail. So if you try to go full screen with it or do anything with it to expand it so that you can see it better, it's the worst quality video I've seen in a long time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He paid a lot of money for it. So when I started talking about video, he was like ready to run in the other direction. He's like, oh, no, I know it's a good idea, but no, I'm not interested. So when I started talking about, look, I'm going to guarantee you 4 videos a month, and his niche has a lot of sub niches, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to guarantee you 4 videos a month. So what I do is I do 4 videos on one keyword every month. But I've never done 4 for him. The first month I did 8. The next month I did 9 or 10 of them. You know, I do my keyword research, and depending on what I think are the best keywords, he's paying me. That's what I'm going to do for him, right? So one month I did like 13 videos. So anything over 4, I told him, you know, I'll do those for $99 a piece, right? He couldn't believe the price. He was thrilled. So for $2,100, 13 videos, I got him, I think it was 17 first page video thumbnails for his keywords. 17 with 13 videos, because some pages had 2 or 3 thumbnails on one page.
Oh, okay.
So, and there were, I think 9 of them were within the first 12 hours, you know. It's super, super easy. I mean, granted, I'm in a rural area, but, you know, back in Massachusetts, in some of the bigger cities there, you know, I've done the same thing in 24 hours or less. I've had them show up on the first page within 1 to 2 hours. Now, those are the ones that usually will drop down over time.
Now, that first page of YouTube, Google, or both?
Google. Well, you know, both. I don't even worry about YouTube for offline clients. And the reason I say that is because, at least around here, not a lot of people are looking on YouTube for their local businesses. They'll go to Google and look for them, you know. So if there's 10 landscapers in the area and somebody wants a landscaper, they'll go to Google. Google knows where you are. You know that. And most people also know that. So they don't always type in the city or the county or whatever. But if they do, I'm there. You know, my guy is there. If they don't, Google knows where you are, so at least they're going to pull up that, you know, county, and he's there. So he's on, you know, now I think I've got him up to 46 or 47 first page results in a couple of months. So he's thrilled with the money he's spending. You know, he can't wait for me to come in and hand him the invoice. And I tell you, this guy smiles and shakes my hand every time he hands me the check.
How's that working for his business?
What's that?
How are the videos working for his business?
Actually, they're working out pretty well, because one of the things we did the videos for was sheds. You know, he sells sheds, custom sheds, Amish sheds, whatever, garden decor, things like that. He's like a landscaping center, and he told me he's never sold anywhere near as many sheds as he did this year. And we didn't even start in the beginning of the season. We started towards the middle of the season with those.
Are you tracking, you know, which videos are working? Are you using call tracking so you know how many calls came in?
Yeah, no, that's what I suggested. He didn't want to do it. So we really don't have a tracking system in place for it, which you're right, there should be, and I told him that. So he's going to consider that for next year. But in the meantime, like now, you and I were just talking about this too. He's gearing up for, you know, plowing season. You know, there's going to be plenty of snow soon, or at least he's hoping. So we're working on, you know, getting him ranked for those. But what I do is I mix up videos
if you can, well, offline, just shoot me an email of those cities so I won't target those.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I did that with Bill Cousins. Bill Cousins apparently was doing that too. I was like, you don't mind? He said, oh, yeah, I do, because I have some. So I checked him out. I was like, okay, I'll fall back.
Yeah, I know Bill too. Bill's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would ever target my area, but you know, if they do, you know, good luck, because the gloves are coming off. You know what I mean? I'm pulling out all the stops if I have to, because I own this area, and you know, it's not much to write home about. It's a very rural area.
But if it works.
What's that?
He said if it's working for you, then.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm not getting rich off of it, but to be honest with you, between you and I mean, and you know, other 500,000 people that are going to watch this video in the next 10 years. But no, you know, for me, it's all about, this is where I live. I want to help these people. I want to help the economy here. And the reason is I live in New York State. New York State's not very well off. I also live in, well, last I knew, we were second or third worst county in the state financially, you know. So this is a very rural area, but it's also financially repressed area. We had a huge flood a couple of years ago, and there was two of them back to back. You probably remember the second one because that hit down, New Jersey and New York coast area.
Oh, Sandy?
Yeah, Sandy. Well, we had Irene before Sandy, a month before. And we lost a lot of businesses, a lot of homes. A lot of people left the county and won't ever come back. A lot of homes were taken down because they couldn't be rebuilt. You know, it was a huge nightmare for most people here, and it took out 3 or 4 villages plus lots of surrounding areas too. So it's a struggling area, and my kids, I love it here. The kids love the schools. They have friends here. I don't ever plan on moving. I'm not gonna, most likely not gonna get flooded out. I didn't get hit by the last one where I live, but lots of my neighbors did. So luckily, I had the plumbing skills. I was out helping people out. I was doing plumbing and heating systems because it happened late fall. So it was only a few months before, there was snow on the ground. It was freezing. So lots of people needed heat fast, and it was a pretty sad time. But the people who did stay are fighters. They're fighting to stay in the game. They're trying to pick things up around here, and I'm doing what I can to help. I mean, obviously, I have to make a living too, so my prices are low. I know that, but the people I'm working with don't have a lot of money, and I'm trying to help bring more in, not take more from them. So that's the reason I do my offline stuff now, because I make the majority of my money online. I would really rather just not do any offline stuff. But the app did work out nicely for me. It provides residents with a free service that they need, because I'm doing like school cancellations, school delays, local events. I don't know about where you live, but where I grew up in Massachusetts, local events weren't like a huge deal where all your neighbors are there.
Yeah.
But where I live now, every time there's a local event, like everybody is there.
Okay.
Teachers are there. The county workers are there. The business owners are there. It's great. People is a tight community. So I help like some of the local organizations get the word out about their local events. I also do like severe weather warnings. Flood warning. That's obviously a big deal to people. So if I can send a flood warning right to their phone, they get a notification. It's called a push notification. So on the app, I'm basically sending them a text that alerts their phone, and as soon as they open it, I can send them right to the Weather Channel. I can send them to my website with a video update or whatever the case may be, which is nice because with those notifications, I can also send out local deals and coupons and things like that. So the business owners who sponsor the app are getting that, they're getting that exposure to the people. So, there's lots of great things about having an app for your local area. But it wasn't easy, it wasn't that easy to do, because Google Play approves apps like, they don't care. I don't even think they look at them. What do you do with this one? You wipe your butt with that one? Okay, yeah, you could put that in. But, iTunes, on the other hand, Apple is much more strict. So it took 2 or 3 weeks longer to get it on iTunes. Okay. Had to keep making little changes. There's certain things that they want and don't want for apps that are listed with them. But overall, it was worth it. It's been pretty profitable.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you the other funny thing about doing video for local businesses, and because I'm the video spokesperson for my clients. I'm not always live on camera for the videos. Sometimes I do animated videos. Sometimes I do kinetic typography.
That was my next question. What are the videos that work for you? What types of videos do you do?
Yeah. So yeah, I like to mix it up. Especially if I'm doing 4 or more videos for the same keywords for the same business. So I'll mix it up. I'll do a couple talking head videos. I'll, put their business in the background. I use a green screen so I don't have to deal with traffic and wind and rain and whatever the case might be on location. I'll take a video on a nice day where, it's just cloudy enough that I don't have the glare, take the video of the location, pop it behind me on the green screen.
Okay. What are your favorite video tools, like for recording? What do you, because I know you've seen, I actually casually promoted. I more talked about how to use them, but we have an Easy Sketch Pro 2 just came out. You have your Explaindio. What are your thoughts on those, and what softwares are you using regularly that work for you?
Well, I mean, up until recently, like you said, all these new video creation software products, and some of them are exceptional. I mean, they do an amazing job, extremely fast and easy. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the hand-drawn whiteboard videos because I've seen the real ones, and I like those. I appreciate those where somebody is actually drawing.
Yeah.
But the software-driven ones, I had Video Scribe for a while. Hardly ever used it. I just wasn't a fan of that type of video. They didn't seem to do well for me. I know they can convert well. I think it depends on the niche, depends on the type of video you're using it for. I think they work much better for online stuff than they do for offline. That's my experience. But I do like kinetic typography mixed up with a little animation, and sometimes I like to do what I call making hybrid videos. So I'll take all different kinds of video. It could be a slideshow in one little spot. I'll have my face on camera in another spot. I'll have animated video in another spot, and then I'll have kinetic typography mixed in. So that's what I like to do because it keeps them guessing. They don't know what's going to be next, and if it's interesting and fast-paced, as long as your message is clear, it'll work. But I do use VideoMaker FX, and previous to VideoMaker FX, I really only used PowerPoint and Camtasia. That was it.
Okay, those are the ones that I use those. I'm actually creating a couple videos today. And a case study that I'm running with, I don't know if you've heard about this software called YouTube Knowledge Tree.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
It's another one. I don't know where I found out about that. It might have been another Tony Hayes promotion because he takes the approach that I take and promotes the stuff that everybody and their mother's not promoting, but's good.
Right. Yeah.
So it has an algorithm that it gives you a number from 1 to 100 of how difficult it is to rank in Google and in YouTube. So I took some lower numbers that came in, and the creators basically said you shouldn't need any off-page SEO to get these ranked. So I'm going to test it out with two niches later today. But I'm going to try. I bought Explaindio and I bought Easy Script Pro 2 or Easy Scribe, whatever this called. So I'm going to try one with one video, one with another, just to kind of test it out, create something basic, and then throw it up to get ranked. It's more so about ranking than the actual quality of the video because I write scripts as well. I've been copywriting for a couple of years. I'm no expert, but I need to do it a lot more. But I am definitely paying a lot of attention with it. And Peter Beattie, are you familiar with him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, his Video Scribe, like I was racking my head, how can I create a generic commercial type video? And I said, hell, let me buy this video Script Genius.
Yes. Yep.
And I bought it and was just like, man, this is what I've been waiting for. Yeah. So that was my little trigger that really got me going for the creating a video that's generic that you wouldn't even realize it was generic. That was the difficulty, and that Video Script Genius is actually what did it. I'm actually trying to get him. I know he's busy as I don't know what, but I'm trying to get him on a hangout too.
Yeah.
But that was a great product. So, what's on your bookshelf? What's your recommended reading? Courses, reading. What's on Bertram's?
Well, actually, I just finished reading Brian Zimmerman's book.
Now, is it
This is
Brian?
what success looks
Brian
like.
Zimmerman?
Yeah, Brian Zimmerman, this is what success looks like. Kindle.
Ah, I didn't know he had a book. Okay.
Yeah, man, you got to check it out. It's a really, you know what I love about it is
Is
Brian
it
was a
funny?
carpenter. What's that?
Is it funny?
Yeah, there's some parts that are pretty funny, but
Okay.
I mean, for the most part, he's, seriously tells you step by step pretty much what you have to do, to be successful. And that's what the book is called. This is what success looks like, which is funny because, he's got all this, like, I guess technically the cover is kind of like grungy, and he's got the dumpster and the graffiti painted everywhere and tattoos on his arms, right? And, that's cool because that's Brian. You know what I mean?
It is.
And that's what Brian and people like him, like yourself. Peter Beattie's another one. Just be yourself, be real. Yeah, like my old saying from I don't even know how far back. I remember saying it in my 20s. I make money. Money doesn't make me, right? Brian didn't change because he made tons of money. He's
Yeah.
still himself. And he even says in the book, you're going to find tons of typos in this book because, basically he just writes the way he speaks, which is kind of how I write my video scripts and, and my sales copy. I just write it as if I'm telling somebody, about the product and why it can help them.
You know what? On that, real quick,
Yeah.
there's something I found very, very helpful. I haven't done it this way often, but basically recording yourself in a conversation. So, say you and I get on the phone. I think I might have done this with, I might have done this with somebody in the past, where I get on the phone and basically talk about it, like, "Ooh, and it does this, and this is why," and then you play the recording back, and that's your sales copy because you're actually telling somebody about the product. You don't have to sit there and think about this. Like, it's a casual conversation.
Yeah, you
Pull
do a
that
quick
out.
edit and you're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about that is, like I said, I come from a blue collar background. I didn't have any of this technical experience. I didn't have any experience with the internet when I started. But what's amazing to me is thinking back to, the old way that business was done, right? And, traditionally, like, for example, you want to sell a physical product. You have to have, first you have to have the skills and the knowledge to create that, to build that product. Let's say you're building a picnic table. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a car, right? You got to have the skills and experience and knowledge to do it. Then you got to have the materials and you've got to have the tools. That's a massive investment right there already, depending on what you want to build. Now, if you're building paper airplanes, well, first, good luck selling them. But but for the most part, a physical product, you need the skills, the experience, the knowledge. You need the tools. You need the materials. And after all that investment, then you can sell it once. One time you can sell it. Then what do you have to do? You have to take part of that profit, buy more material, spend more time, hopefully don't break a tool and spend more money, and then build one more and then sell it, right? Okay, you could take it a step further and say you're going to build an assembly line like Henry Ford did. Good for him, right? It's a great thing. But you still can only, you have to invest the time and the money into every single thing that you build to sell it once. The great thing about what we do online is you do have to have the skills, you do have to have the tools. They're a lot less expensive. You buy them once, you can use them infinite number of times, and you never break them. I found that out when I was learning how to use software like Adobe After Effects and Photoshop.
Yeah.
Blew my mind when I first opened it up. I went into a panic. I thought I was going to have to get locked up in a padded room. I was, I was just going nuts. Could not figure it out. And I kept thinking, I'm going to break this thing. I'm going to break this thing. And then somebody told me once, don't worry about breaking software. You can't. You can only do what it's going to let you do. You can't break software. If it has glitches, it has glitches. That happens, right? But you can't break it. You shut it off, you save your work, you shut it down, you open it up, restart it, and you're ready to go again. But you can create one product, and I know you know where I'm going with this, but you create one product, and you don't ever have to create that product again, and you can keep selling it infinite number of times. and I hope you do, because I don't. I haven't had a six-figure product launch yet, but I'm expecting to have one next year.
Yeah, I'm building systems out to expand what I'm doing more. Like I do the launch and then it's it. And like I need to have some evergreenness. That's my word for the day. Evergreenness.
Good one. That's a good word. And you're right. You do have to. And that was a big realization for me too. After my first 2 or 3 products, I started scratching my head and I'm saying, wait a minute. I'm never going to get anywhere with this. I'm putting, you know the 80-20 rule, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm an idiot because I flipped it upside down. I got it totally backwards. I'm putting 20% of my time into my marketing and sales and 80% of my time into my product. But you know what? I'm okay with that. I'd rather make less money. This is just me. I know this is not true, for most people who are running a business, but for me, I sleep better at night. I just always feel like I can't deliver enough value. I want to give everybody the world. That's me, right? But I do have to make a living too. So, I sell enough products, but I want to put 80%, and I do put 80% of my time. I've cut it back. I'm trying to get that balance. Everything in life is about balance. But I put far more time into creating my product and building my membership site so that it's user-friendly than I do into the marketing side. And like I said, I kind of flipped that upside down and buried myself after the first 2 or 3 products because...
Are you a one-man shop? Is that something you could, you know what you need to do? Is that something you could just hire a VA or hire somebody locally and help them out and say, here, you do this while I keep on the product?
Well, I do now, but up until this past year, I tried several times to hire VAs in the Philippines and wherever, and I'd put all this time and money into training them and waiting on them to get stuff out, and they don't. There's a whole world of stories that go behind that whole thing, but it got to the point to me where it didn't make sense because every time I got somebody who was capable of doing it, they either just weren't putting out the work, or I would lose them as fast as I got them. It just to me it seemed like I was throwing away time and money, for little results, little production. So I backed off of that for probably a year and a half, and then I do have a few local people that I work with. I have a partner who created the graphics on this YouTube Graphics Toolkit.
Yeah.
He's an American, but he lives in Thailand. He's been there for I think 7 years. Great guy, amazing graphic artist, as you know. You've seen the product. Mm-hmm. I'm not a good graphics guy. I mean, my design skills are horrible.
Yes, I used to be.
I'm the guy that tries to put the red on the blue or the blue on the red. It just, they bleed, they clash, you can't do it. I've been told you can't do it. I don't understand why, because I like it. I think it looks nice.
Right.
No, I'm just saying I don't have an eye for design, never did. I've even been told I'm colorblind, but I can tell the difference between blue and red. I just don't know shades, I guess. So he's an amazing graphics guy, and I struggled. I had a few good graphics people here and there now and then, but it seemed like every time I went to go back to them for more work, now they're doing something else, they're making more money, they don't, whatever the case, the good ones are always gone fast.
So let's dive straight into that, because that was my next segue. Was why do graphics matter on YouTube's video? Who cares about graphics?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people do feel that way. It's not a big deal. Just throw a picture up there. Well,
how hard can it be? I mean,
right? Yeah, it's not. You can go to Fiverr. You can find somebody to create a graphic for you. That's all well and good. The problem is if you, like myself, and I don't know if you have, I've hired graphics guys on Fiverr before. If you get a good one now, you might get a good one now, and he might do a great job for you, but almost nothing's $5 anymore anyway. Now it's going to be 10, 15, 20 per piece, right?
No, he actually sucked, and I told him, okay, this is what I asked for. Like, I did the whole elaborate, because this was my son's design. He gave me the design. I was like, okay, he laid it out perfect. He laid it out in PowerPoint. I made a PDF. I used what is it, a screencasting program to explain via video what I wanted, the graphics that I gave everything laid out, and it came back and it wasn't what I asked for. So I said, okay, can you make these changes? He's like, I can't do that, and canceled it and gave my money back. And then you came into my life.
Yeah. Well,
So
you know, I have had some good graphics guys on Fiverr over the years.
I have two.
The problem is, though, when you are probably already know what I'm going to say here, too, because you get a good graphics guy, you know, you want to use them again, you go back to them, and they're not there anymore.
Yep.
You know?
The gig is paused.
Right, right. Or it's, you know, now he's so overloaded with work, you know, that it's pushed way out. But I'm not a graphic designer, but with this toolkit, between my partner and I, we came up with the idea to make all the graphics HD video dimensions, right? So when you drop this into either a video editing software program or an image editing software program or PowerPoint, OpenOffice, Paint, GIMP, Photoshop, you know, there's such a wide variety of programs that you can use the graphics in, and all you do is you select a background. Do you want me to share my screen? I can show you.
Yes, please. So it works in anything you could possibly have, free or paid tools. It works in those, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Anything that you can edit video or graphics in, and I mean very basic. Can you see my screen? Or
I can, yes.
Okay, so you see this screen here. So here's the backgrounds, right? Now, these are called a lot of different things. I refer to them generally as related video placeholders. People also call them video directories or video bumpers, end slate graphics, whatever you want to call them.
So this is the outro, because I've called it an outro. Basically, the video's over. This is what shows.
Yeah, so at the end of the video, you have your video is the size of this entire frame, right? You have your video shrink down and go into this large window. You can have text up top, and then you have maybe a previous video here and the next video here. And all these elements are clickable. And then down here, you could have your logo, subscribe button, anything like that. So you just select a background, right? So I select this background, drop it into Photoshop, and it'll fit perfectly as long as, PowerPoint. But I could also bring these into Camtasia. You can't use them in Windows Movie Maker, but you can use them in iMovie. Any video editing software that has multiple tracks. That's the only thing you need to know. Multiple tracks. Otherwise, you can do it in PowerPoint, OpenOffice. You know, there's online image editing programs you can use that are free, you know, web-based. So you just select a background, and then you go ahead and select a background element if you want one, and you can see that the frames all line up, and these elements stack right on top of that background image, right? And then you go in and...
Let me ask you this. Since we're in it, give us a demo. Let's create one. Can we do that real quick?
Oh, yeah, sure. Actually, I can do that. I don't know how much the Hangout's going to like this, but I'm going to open PowerPoint right now.
Okay.
So basically what we've got is, now I'm showing you one graphic here, but you know, people that are watching probably don't know yet, that the three different types of graphics. There's the video thumbnails, which if you go to YouTube and you look at any professional channel or big brand, they have custom video thumbnails. YouTube themselves say that if you use custom thumbnails, you will get more views more clicks on your videos. Same thing with the...
True.
Yeah. So what I do is just go to design. This is 2010, by the way, PowerPoint 2010. Go to page setup, and then you always have to go to on-screen show 16 by 9. Click OK. See, now you get that HD layout.
I always did it manually. Okay.
What do you mean?
I go to the margins and I put the margins in myself. The page size.
Oh, okay. I never thought of that. So what I do is I always cut these right out. You know,
Yeah.
just cut those boxes, text boxes out. But then just go to Insert, go to Picture, and let me see. I'm going to have to find my. Oops. And I'm just going to go, you know, navigate to wherever you saved the files, and then you just pull up the. So we're going to do. Let's do one of those related video placeholders that we were just looking at. I'll do one of those first. I got. There's actually. This is the funny thing. There's only, I don't know, around 1,000 graphics between the whole package, you know, between the 3 different types of graphics you can create. There's pretty close to 1,000 different graphics. And so there's my background. So first you select the background, and then you just go ahead and select, let me just bring this over here. I'm in the backgrounds. Now I'm going to go to a background element. Let's say I like that one. Throw that on there. And then I'm going to go back to grab a bottom bar. Throw the bottom bar on there. You can see that doesn't really look right. But the nice thing about these is that the way we created these is that they fit perfectly in the frame. So when you open that item, you know, when you add that, you stack it in there, it fits perfectly. You don't have to do anything to it. You can slide them around if you want, but you don't have to. You know, so if, you know, somebody says, well, I don't know how to use Photoshop. Great, because you don't have to. You know what I mean? I'm not a graphic designer. Great, because you don't have to be, because I'm not. Yeah. So now I'm just grabbing some other elements that I want to use, like a subscribe button here, and then you can go in and select different colors for the, you know, the parts of the buttons, and you can mix and match. That's what I love about this. You can just mix it all up and, you know, just grab things. Like I put something in the wrong order. Easy. All I have to do is go bring to send to back, and it sends it back behind there. Or, you know, you could just delete it, pick another item. You do have to stack them in order, obviously. If you don't, it won't make a lot of sense. Like, see this here? I could put the subscribe button down there. Now, the cool thing is, even though everything goes where it needs to go, I can also drag these elements around. You know, so I could drag that. If I didn't want it there, I changed my mind, I could drag that over here. Whoops. I could drag that over here and just put it behind this text. So I'm just going to send that to the back. Oh, actually, I shouldn't have sent it to the back. I should have just sent it backwards. And PowerPoint's very, very basic. I'll send it backwards one more time, put it behind the text.
And most folks have PowerPoint too, so you don't need to have.
Yeah, and even if you don't have PowerPoint, it's not a big deal, because OpenOffice will do the same thing. And then, you know, you just create, you put all the elements together the way you want, and then you just create, save it out. Whoops, I'm dragging this around thinking I'm dragging the whole thing. You just save it out as a JPEG or whatever type of image you want. JPEG generally is better because you want to keep the images as small as possible. And the more elements you layer on it, obviously, the larger the file is going to be. Mm-hmm. And YouTube does have limitations, but you know, we've got all different kinds of elements.
Using PowerPoint like this. I use PowerPoint for my thumbnails.
Yeah.
I just create some obnoxiously bright for local stuff. I put the phone number on there and like an arrow or 10% off or something, and
yeah,
keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. I love PowerPoint. It's so easy to work with that, you know, for me anyway.
It is.
I do a lot of stuff with it that I've never seen other people do, or, you know, it doesn't mean you're not doing it.
As a graphics creator, you think about it as a presentation
Right. Yeah, exactly. But because I'm so bad with graphics and, didn't want to spend forever learning Photoshop, I use Photoshop now. I can, if I buy graphics or I buy, something with PSD files, I can go in there and customize it and make it my own. But I'm not a graphic designer and I'm not a Photoshop expert by a long shot. I know just enough about Photoshop to get myself in trouble. Usually. But PowerPoint is a piece of cake. So now this is done. I would, if I wanted to add my logo here or something like that, I would do that. I would save this out, just figure out where you want to save it and save it as you save it as a PowerPoint presentation so you can edit it later if you want to. That's what I do. And then you can also go ahead and save it as a JPEG or a PNG. But then what I would do is drag this into Camtasia, right? Put this on the very bottom track, the first track, and lock that track. Drag this out for the length of whatever video I want to use it on, right? Or you can just add it on the end. But usually I'll just drag it out because it's an image. Leave it there, and then have the full-size video playing over this image. And then at the end, you just use the zoom and pan, right? And just, drag the, well, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but you use zoom. You can drag that video down to fit right in here near the end. Then you take your other two video tracks. You can also put still images in here. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you like. And I, would suggest using video clips, but just a few seconds, 5-10 seconds. Let those videos run, extract the audio, delete that audio from these two tracks so that while you're over here still talking, these two aren't drowning you and each other out, right?
Oh, okay.
And then you make these clickable with YouTube's annotations. You make the subscribe button clickable. You can, if you have your channel linked up to your website, you could put your logo up here or reduce the size of this text and drag it over here a little bit, put your logo over here, make that clickable to your website if you want. You can obviously make these two videos clickable, and you can even put clickable images inside the main video here. So there's lots of things you can do with these, and they really do get you a lot more views on your related videos.
That's an interesting way that you said that, because when I was talking to my son, I was wondering, how people get the videos in those little sections. So I was like, well, for start off, what we'll do is we'll just put an actual screen cap of the video in there where they'll see that, or we'll say, watch other channel videos, something generic, because he doesn't have the video expertise. He takes his phone or his video camera and records his video. So to keep it technically simple, I said we'll just take this, and every time, because his younger brother helps him edit the video, so I said you do the video, we'll get an intro created because we're working on a logo now. We'll get the intro created, and we'll do this end card outro. So all you got to do is give Jay the video. He knows automatically, put the intro on 3 seconds, and then take this, put this at the end, run it out 10 seconds, and then you're done.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and we've got tutorials in there on how to do this with, lots and lots of different software. So, there's some very, very basic ways to do this. These obviously are the most complicated graphic, which I don't think they're very complicated at all. And if you easily follow along, anybody, I don't care if you just bought Camtasia today, never saw the inside of it before, follow the tutorial and you'll be able to do it. It's that easy. So yeah, you just drag those videos down, to fit in these boxes. The funny thing is, I know most people who, and there aren't a lot, but most of the people who do create these graphics and use them, for some reason they make these white spots, these white boxes where the videos go, they make them transparent. That's too much work. Just put a white box over it, black box, I don't care what color box. You can put a pink and purple polka dot box in here if you want, because what I do is rather than put the video behind this graphic, I'd put the video on top of the graphic and just make it fit inside this frame. And it's very easy to do, you know?
Okay.
So there's really no reason to complicate it. You just drag those videos on the track, you know, above this image, and then just size them to fit in this box.
Okay, now does it create any other type of images?
Yeah.
Does it do like your header images too,
Yeah, it
or
does
is it all in?
the channel graphics and the thumbnails, the custom thumbnails.
So channel graphics is pretty much like a header, right?
Yeah, yeah. The channel graphics is a channel header. That's exactly what it is. So these are all the different, you know, backgrounds for the thumbnails. So there's gradients, plane, and textures. So we'll just grab one of these. And I actually should just delete everything else that was under there first. I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I wish I had, you know, it's kind of been a long call already.
Yeah.
I would love to, you know, open up Camtasia and show you how to use these end slate graphics, because it's easy, it's very important, and most people are not doing it. If you go to YouTube, you'll find probably 90% of the channels that you can look at on YouTube are not using these. And I think it's very important to use these, because it's not new news that when somebody, the best time to get somebody to buy something is right after they bought something, right?
Yes.
That's why people use upsells and one-time offers, and that's why when you go into the store, they've got all these, you know, items at the register, because those are impulse items. People make more impulse purchases than any other kind, right?
Yep.
Well, the same thing applies with your videos. Everybody who's ever put a video on YouTube, unless they got lucky and it just went viral for no apparent reason, which is not very common, knows that it's tough to get views on your videos, right? So the best time to get somebody to watch one of your videos is right after they've watched one of your videos. And if they watch it to the end and get to that graphic, that end slate graphic where you have related videos, they're more likely to click on another one of your videos right then and there than they are to come back to your channel at a later date and watch another one of your videos.
Yes.
So it's just like sales. You want to get them to watch another video right then and there while they're watching it, because if they watched it to the end, they liked it, right?
Yep.
They must have liked something, or they wouldn't have hung around to the end of the video. So that's why they work. And
what about getting folks to the website? You know, get them off of social media and build a list. Can these be used for that too?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I love that you can link your website to your videos now, because you put clickable images right in your video, and make sure you tell people, hey, you can click the image. I have images that have, you know, a little rectangle with a text on it that says, click here to subscribe, or click here to visit my website, or there's tons of different, you know, different ones, different sayings on them, and some of them say yes in the video, because people say click here, you know, in the video, really? Yeah, in the video. You know, a lot of people still don't know you can click an image in the video and it's clickable.
Yeah, I've noticed. I was looking for that for years, and then they finally did it. I was like, oh man, this is awesome.
Yeah, it really is. It's a powerful tool, no doubt about it.
Now, I have a question for you, which I'm wondering, and I'm sure folks watching this are wondering too. If you have, because I made a mistake, I have some very popular videos around SEO and creating presentation videos that I just created to provide value, and there's really no list building or anything behind it, which was my fault. But I would love to be able to put an end card on those. Is that possible for videos that are already up there to put these type of graphics?
Oh
You know?
yeah, absolutely. What you know, there's a couple ways you can do that, but you know when you go into YouTube's editor, right?
Yes.
You go into the editor, you can take, for example, they have the option to take an intro, for example, upload
Yep.
it to your channel, and then you can have it automatically play at the beginning of each video,
Yeah. I'm
right?
aware of that.
Well, what you can do with these is you pop, do the editing, create the image, do your editing in Camtasia, pop your videos in there, upload it to YouTube, and then just go to use YouTube's editor, so you don't lose any of your current rankings or anything with that video
That's
by
my
pulling it
concern.
down. Right. So you just add this onto the end of it with YouTube's editor, and you're done, and it won't change
Oh man.
anything.
I was kind of thinking that because I've never really used YouTube Editor. I kind of need to look into that more. But thank you very much because that is I've got a video that's got 60,000 views. The other one's got about 10,000, and it's just 60,000 and 10,000. Nothing's happening.
Right.
I need to put an end card on that, so I will be doing that today.
That's good. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things about that though. If you create one and upload it, right? You're probably not going to want that one on the end of every single video because you're going to want to switch up the videos that are on the end of that video, right?
Yeah.
So, those are a couple of things.
I'm thinking about a generic, just keep a generic one, and then if I need a specialty one, because more so what I want to do is get them off of the video, like subscribe for the video domination blueprint. I
Right.
want to get them after they watch the video, they're so excited, and I mean, it's got engagement and everything. Okay, now go over and sign up for an email list, and I'll make sure you get the latest and the greatest in SEO, video SEO, marketing, how-to information.
Yep. Yeah, that's that. You should be using those.
Yes.
I'm guilty of it too. Like I'll build a channel for a client, and before there's a single video on it, I've got the whole channel customized and optimized and ready to go, and it's got custom graphics on it, and then I'm doing thumbnails and all these other things, but I'm not doing it for my own channels. I've got a dozen channels. I can use that as an excuse, but truth is, I have to get it on all my own channels as well. It's
Yeah,
not
and
like I
this
don't
is
know that.
moving forward. This is something I'll definitely make sure that I take care of because that was something I'm wondering. I'm just like, as I'm talking to my oldest, I'm just like, man, we're gonna start you off right because I'll tell you where I messed up. I got a lot of folks engaged, but there's no, I'm not making any money off it. This is 50,000 views. I should make at least $1 off of that. Because I'm educating folks, and I'm not.
Right.
And here's
Right.
why. So now I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I know we've gone. I've said I was going to try and keep these to 30, 45 minutes, and I'm going to get into a discipline where we get straight to the point. But definitely great conversation. I really appreciate your time. Um, any takeaways? Do you have two or three? Let's just go with two takeaways, tips, and a quote or story.
2 or 3 tips, huh? That's all.
We've actually given away about a dozen and a half already, so.
Oh, okay. So yeah, as long as they're getting something for their time, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, you can tell I'm not a graphic designer, but these things, like I showed you, you just click the element you want, and just boom, it's in there, and it's right where you want it. Obviously, I distorted my image because I'm not going to go into Photoshop and create an image to fit this specifically, but you get the idea. You can do whatever you want with the text. Actually, I should have done this all centered, but very easy to use, and there's
No
other
experience
elements.
required.
Yeah, there's textures and gradients and styles and all kinds of other things you can mix and match and add to these, so that they look the way you want them to. But there's literally tens of thousands of possible combinations for unique graphics that you can create with the 1,000 graphics that we have here. Between the colors, the textures, the gradients, the frames. I mean, this frame here, the film frame, there's lots and lots of different frames that go there. There's different elements that go here. And this is just, one graphic, right? But I think probably the biggest tip I could give to people as far as video goes is just start where you are. Do it. Just create video. I know you hear that all the time, but look, in the beginning, my first videos were so bad that I think my 8-year-old son could have done a better job. I mean, I was extremely bad with video because I didn't want to put my face on it. That was out of the question. And I didn't even want to put my voice in it. So my first videos were show videos with music in the background and text. And guess what? They worked. They didn't work well, but they worked. Right? I started getting...
Yeah, I started with Animoto videos, just taking screenshots and pictures and slapping them up there with some music in the background. And
yeah, exactly. Anything can work. That's the amazing thing. I was getting traffic, not heavy, but I was getting some traffic. Things were starting to move just with those first few videos, right? So then I said, okay, all right, let me just step out here, and I'll take a chance. I'll put my voice in the video, and I started doing the voiceovers, and all of a sudden a whole new world opened up to me, because here I am thinking, I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I was editing this thing and I would cringe. It was, like I really couldn't stand the sound of my own voice. But I had guys as well as women complimenting my voice, saying, guys saying, I really dig your voice. You got a cool voice, easy to listen to. And I thought, well, all right, then, maybe I'll make another one. And so from there, I kept making them, and as my skills improved, my traffic improved, and the more videos you get out there, you link to the same channel and playlists, and you do the proper keyword research, and before you know it, you've got a steady flow of traffic. And then you're selling products, and then people want to do interviews with you, and then things just keep opening up. The more people find your videos, so obviously more videos are going to do more work for you. So really, the most important thing about video is not like you and I were talking about earlier. It's not making sure your videos are perfect. Look, if it really sucks bad, which my first videos did, my first videos with me on camera, I was horrible. I was too uncomfortable, too fidgety. It was quite obvious. So what? I didn't put it online. That's all there is to it. Nobody has to see your video until you decide they can. Yeah. That was the big takeaway for me when I created that video. Here I am, like sweaty in the palms, thinking this is horrible. People are gonna, not gonna watch more than a few seconds of this. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I can scrap it and do it again. Nobody's seen it but me. So you have to do it, and you have to get comfortable with it. It takes time, yes, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Mine are still not perfect. They're far from it. I mean, I've seen top quality videos, and I don't consider mine top quality. But what I need my videos to do, they do well.
Yep.
I'm not an actor. I'm never going to be. I'm not, I represent myself, my business, and my products. And that's all I needed to do. People don't, I think in some ways people don't want a video to be too polished, especially when you're talking about, yeah, especially for certain things, there, you know, obviously, if you're going to put it on TV, it's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Close to it. But
Okay. Well,
go ahead.
give us one tool. I guess we can give us a free tool. One free tool that you couldn't live without. Something that you use regularly. That it's helped you out significantly.
Well, right now, yeah, I can't think of anything for software tools. I can't think of anything that I use more frequently than Camtasia. However, I got by for almost 3 years without Camtasia, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything because there is a piece of software called Screencast-O-Matic. And that's a long, weird name, and it's Screencast, one word, Screencast hyphen O hyphen Matic.com. And when I got it, I think it was $7, $8 a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think it's actually up to $14 or $16, $15 a year now. But it's a web-based screen recording software. They now have a desktop piece that you can download, and they have a free version that I think is limited to 5 or 10 minutes, but you know, there's other free versions out there like Jing, right?
Yeah,
You know,
I have a video about if you Google how to create presentation videos.
yeah.
I created a video around Jing and using Google Docs to create actually videos for free.
Oh yeah, and that's a great combination. But personally, I don't know why. I don't have anything against Jing. I just never got into using it because I liked Screencast-O-Matic, and you know, it was like, who can't afford a year, you know, subscription to the paid version of Screencast-O-Matic? It's like $15 for a year. You know, if you can't afford that, fine, start with the free version. But with the paid version, you get, you know, obviously no branding, right? Screencast-O-Matic watermark will be on the free version. On the paid version, it's not there. But you also get more editing tools. You know, it's got a built-in editor similar to, I don't want to say similar to Camtasia, similar to what Camtasia's editor used to be. But now Camtasia does things like green screen and, you know, can, you know, animate images and other items in the video, can do a lot of things that it couldn't do back in the day. But Screencast-O-Matic is a great alternative to Camtasia if you can't afford Camtasia.
Okay, Camtasia is what, about $400?
Yeah, I think it's $299.
Okay. All right, good deal. All right, well, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap this up. If you're looking for the show notes or you're interested in the YouTube Graphics Toolkit, there will be a link below. Make sure you also sign up for the video ranking blueprint. And if I can pull Bertram's arm enough, we'll see if we can get you a coupon code for a slight discount. That'll be up to him.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. And
I'll do that.
I want to leave with a quote that I heard yesterday. Actually, I heard from Ben Settle, who is another guy that I follow. Awesome dude. BenSettle.com. He's a copywriter, email copywriter, and he had mentioned this movie a while ago, so I figured, heck, I'll finally watch it, called The Machine Gun Preacher. Really good video. Basically, it's about this dude who was way out. He was this biker guy, just got out of jail. His wife was a stripper, and he just got out of jail. His wife converted to Christianity. He ended up converting too, and he set up an orphanage in Sudan, Africa, where violence with kids, they're kidnapping and the kid sex trade and what have you. Well, basically, he built this orphanage. He had the rebels helping him out, protecting the kids. He had like hundreds of kids. And what happened was they just started building it, and they tore it down. The rebels came in, He wasn't expected. Came in, tore it down. He called his wife, was like, "Honey, I can't do this anymore. This is." They burned everything down. They killed some men, et cetera, et cetera. I'm coming home. I can't do this. And his wife said, I can't remember the guy's name. But she was basically like, "Look, get off your butt. Stop crying and build it again. Those kids need you. They lost everything. You still have us here. You still have your home here. Get off your butt, stop your bellyache and crying, and build it again." And that's my quote for today, partially because, I've been in that situation from you've been knocked down. You and I had this discussion before we started talking.
Right.
But it's never as bad as we think it is, or it can always be worse.
Yep, absolutely.
So those folks that are like, "Oh, I don't have this, I don't have this." There's something for you. Get off your butt, stop crying, and build it again.
Yep.
If you've never had it, you've had something. It's doable. Life gets in the way, et cetera, but we have one life, so you got to really make it what you want it to be. And that's my quote for today. So, Bertram, I really appreciate the time you took. I know we went way over. Again, I'm going to figure out how to cut these down, but every time we get on, it's so much good information and so much good energy that it's hard to, cap it and keep it under an hour.
Yeah, I know, and we could have gone for a couple more hours too.
Yeah, we definitely could have.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely would like to have you back on. I'm sure there's more we can talk about.
Absolutely, I'd love to be back on the show. Yeah.
Down the line, and I'll see what I can't work out with the kind of the mastermind. Get 3 or 4 of us on. Each of us takes about 20 minutes, and we just say, "Hey, here's what's working," and have that kind of conversation dialogue. I think that would be something really, really good. I haven't seen yet.
No, I think it's a great idea, and you should do it.
Yeah, so I'll start reaching out.
I'd be happy to be a guest on the show anytime. So unless you want the same people every time.
I'd say everybody has something different. Like just alone, I can usually share. And one thing they say, when you teach, you learn, and that is so true. So you've taught me a lot today. I may have taught you a few things or not. I'm not sure, but I'm always getting on and I'm sharing and share. So it's good to learn from whoever. So I'm not particular in having the same folks on because everybody has a different perspective
I agree.
We might be able to pull from. So I'm definitely going to look into that.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you're not learning, you're not growing.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I don't like standing still because nothing gets done.
Yeah, exactly. Or standing still too long. Sometimes you got to stand still and regroup.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. But, I mean, if you're in a good place, stop and smell the roses, but then move.
Yeah, don't get stagnant.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Is it snowing up there yet?
Yeah, it started. First snow we saw this year was yesterday. We had about 1 inch, and then up in the hills we had about 3 inches or so.
Okay.
But it was mostly gone this morning.
Yeah, all right. Well, stay warm because I know it's in the 30s here. It was in the 30s down here in Atlanta, 30s and 40s.
That's cold for down there, right? Because we're around 20 last night.
Yes, that's cold. I mean, it doesn't snow much, but when it snows, the world stops. If you hear or see one speck of snow, shut it down because they don't have the infrastructure. But it's getting a little cold now, so I'm we get some work done, maybe get a workout on, and get back on my grind. So, but again, underneath the video there will be a link to the show notes. You share the show notes, you'll get information we did not talk about on this hangout. You can also get the video ranking blueprint, and we'll have access to YouTube Graphics Toolkit, which I will actually be purchasing as soon as I get off here. For my use and for my son's use. Definitely recommend it. We had a live demo. Great. It's not a piece of software, but it's a great product to give you that professional appeal or give your clients that professional appeal in their YouTube channels. So you can create high-end graphics that you would charge. Bertram, what would you say somebody would charge for package of graphics like an end card, a thumbnail, and a header. What's a good average price for that? If you're not going on Fiverr, you're going to a real designer that's good.
Oh, I would expect to, for custom. In fact, if you look at my channel, well, my main YouTube channel is under my name. I paid $99 for the set, but the thumbnails, every video you create, the thumbnail has to be changed. So you have to pay a little bit more money if you want the PSD files, so that you can, so that you could change the text on each thumbnail, right? Or change the text and maybe even the picture, on each thumbnail. So yeah, I would expect to pay at least $99 for a custom YouTube channel set,
Okay, so that's the product is less than $99, so you get it once and you can charge $99 on through to your clients to actually get these things done. Very easy to use. If you have a computer, you probably have software on there that you can use this for. So it's got several. Like I said, you've got GIMP, which is free, PowerPoint. What was it?
OpenOffice, GIMP. Yeah, lots of free software that we show how to do it with. iMovie. iMovie is Apple's version of Windows Movie Maker. Windows Movie Maker you cannot do it with because you don't have multiple tracks. But just about any other video editing software and image editing software will work.
Okay, so you can use it in Movies Maker. You would just have to create the graphic and just slap a stagnant graphic at the end, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You wouldn't be able to add videos to it, but you could put it in there. Technically, yes.
So it wouldn't be as dynamic. No videos, but you can add a flat image that you create using this.
Right.
Okay, so it can be used in Movie Maker, just not the full interactivity. So
right, exactly.
Not everybody has Movie Maker if you've got a PC.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, again, I thank you for your time. We will talk soon. If you can, shoot me an email with your YouTube channel. What is it called?
The URL.
YouTube channel.
Yep.
URL.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I'll put that in there. And I looked at the survey you did, which will be in the show notes. If there's any other URL, like your general blog or anything else that's not in there, shoot that to me. We'll put that in the show notes. And for those listening, when you go to the page that the Hangout is on, share it on Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook. You will get the MP3 download of this so you can listen to this on your way to work. You will receive the bonus show notes, which were not discussed on this Hangout. This was a survey that Bertram filled out prior to us talking, as well as a few extra bonuses will be in there for you simply for sharing this. We definitely want to get the word out. Hit the share button if you're on the YouTube page. Share this this Hangout. Bertram, I appreciate your time, and you have a great weekend.
Oh, you too. Thanks for having me, Damon. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.